Hey, welcome to another proven sales letter breakdown video. Today I have another Gary Bencivenga promotion for you, and it's pretty interesting because it's actually one of his first ads when he started working for a marketing agency that advertised their own copywriting services. So if you're a copywriter or if you're interested in copywriting, this could be pretty useful for you because it will show you a cool little way how to actually pitch clients your specific copywriting offers, Gary Bencivenga style. So who else would you like to learn this from than Gary Bencivenga, who's still considered to be unquestionably the greatest living copywriter. Okay, he had the best track record of all copywriters alive, maybe ever. So it's not long at all, so it's basically a space ad. So it means that it was run in the New York Times and in the Wall Street Journal. So this was meant for company executives or CEOs or owners of companies who basically want to scale more, want better marketing solutions, want to grow to new levels. And the headline is pretty cool. It says, announcing a direct response advertising agency that will guarantee to outpull your best ad. So basically, this type of headline, if you think about it, it's a promise. So it's also like a proclamation of like, wow, look at this, announcing something new. So it has news value, which is always useful. But it's also like a promise. So there are several types of leads that I've done videos on. You can check them out before this. But the cool thing about this is that you promise them something that they want. So they want better results with their advertising, but there's also a guarantee linked to it, okay? So it's like, this is the only agency that pretty much guarantees results like these. Because as we go further and further into this ad, you'll see that there's a very specific type of promise here that not many others are doing. So kind of this is a unique selling proposition in its own as well. And then the direct response, I also wanted to mention it because it's specific, because even to this day, many big companies have no idea what direct response marketing is, okay? They mostly hire big fancy agencies who do like brand marketing or content marketing or stuff like this, but they're not hardcore direct response marketers, which means that they don't really measure their advertisement spend. They don't really engineer every single thing in their ads for sales, okay? So the aim of direct response marketing and direct response copywriting is to get sales. That's it. It's not to get awards. It's not to be creative. It's not to sound funny or cute or something like that. It's the number one job is to get more sales. That's it. And not many companies are willing to do this actually, because especially like super big brands who work with like super big agencies that work with like Coca-Cola or these big companies, they don't really measure their ads too much, because then they would see that it's super ineffective and the whole power dynamic would shift. But anyway, that's a conversation for next time. So what I like about this whole thing is that it's very easy to read. So even though it's meant for executives, it's a very straightforward promotion, very easy to read, and it gives away tons of value. And this was Gary Bencivenga's core tenets, is to make the advertisement itself valuable, because people in your target audience, they don't necessarily want to read ads. They read stuff that are interesting to them. And sometimes that's an ad. Well, if you make your ad itself valuable and you make like 70% of it useful content, then it's going to be interesting for them, and then they will read it. And if they read it, they're much more likely to actually do the thing that you want them to do. Okay, that's also the aim of direct response copywriting. So that's what I really like about it. So let's see just the little lead part itself, which is, once again, it's kind of a promise lead. And then I will mention a few other cool things as well. So it starts with, if you are a direct response advertiser, here is a no-risk offer from Callas, Powell, Rosenthal, and Block. I mean, it's kind of sounds like a law firm or something like that, but yeah, the name, I mean, maybe it gives more credibility, but I don't necessarily like the name itself, but it is what it is. But I like the first paragraph though, because it's an if-then qualification. So it immediately qualifies people. If you are like this, then here's what we can do for you. And then the second paragraph. We'll guarantee to outpull your best ad by at least 10% in a split run test. So this is the bold promise restated one more time. If we don't pull at least 10% more responses, you won't owe us a penny for any work we've done, creative or production. We'll even refund half of your media expense to cover our half of the test. Wow, so pretty bold thing here, but like this little twist makes everything much more credible, right? I mean, people who are reading this, they start thinking like, wow, these guys really know what they're talking about. And then we continue. If we do beat your best ad by at least 10%, you simply pay us an agreed upon creative fee. Should the test results be impressive and we both wish to enter into a full service agency agreement, this creative fee will be refunded to you in full. So, wow, talk about an irresistible offer, right? These guys basically are willing to like give you an irresistible offer. So if they do better work than your current ads, you don't pay anything. If they do better, then you pay them an already agreed upon fee. And if you want to start working them, on a longer time scale, then they'll even refund that to you. Okay, so this is really powerful if you think about it. And Gary Bencivenga came up with this in 1975. So it's like 45 years ago. Like, what? It's pretty cool. And that's why, he was one of the best copywriters ever, because even in 1975, he could write something like this. And it's so persuasive. Like, imagine yourself being a CEO of a company and you want to grow to the next level. And if you read something like this, how could you not read further? It's really, really a strong value proposition. And you can also do something like this as well as a copywriter. And by the way, another thing that you can do is to smash that like button right now, because if you're enjoying these videos, then why not like them, right? Also, it helps me a ton, because this is what the YouTube algorithm wants. This is what signals that this video is actually valuable. And also share this video with others as well. Maybe you know another copywriter, a business owner, a marketer, something like that. Send them this video, because it will probably help them sell more services as well. And also, if you want to learn more about these things and you want to follow my challenge, because I'm doing these videos daily nowadays, then make sure to subscribe below as well and click that little notification icon, because that way you'll be the first to know when I release a new video. So with that being said, let's continue the ad itself. The next paragraph says, in effect, we offer you a risk-free trial of our advertising pulling power. Our work will cost you absolutely nothing. No creative, production, or media costs, unless we beat your best ad by at least 10%. Pretty cool, right? Now, at this point, what I really like is that we have the whole offer is presented as only upside for the client. So the only way the client, they win either way. If you beat their ads, they win. If you don't beat their ads, they still win, because they don't pay you. And there's also an upsell opportunities here, because it says, if you want to engage with us long term, which is obviously way more lucrative for any company, then we'll just refund the startup fee, and then that's it. Pretty cool. Are there any catches? Now, I like this because at this point, what a lot of people in the target audience are feeling is that, okay, what's the catch? I can't believe that this is so good. It seems too good to be true, okay? So this is kind of an objection handling element. And then Gary Bencivenga says, there are two. First, you must be willing to let us create advertising we think will sell. Except for legal and factual approval, we'd retain creative freedom. Naturally, if an ad isn't ours, if the copy has been rewritten or the layout redesigned, we can't guarantee its success. Makes sense, right? And also, this is very, very important for any copywriter. It's really important to have creative freedom in this, because most clients don't know what they're thinking or what they're doing. And if they start meddling with your ads, it's not going to be pretty. And secondly, you must need better advertising. If we think your present advertising is excellent, we'll tell you. We don't presume to be the only direct response agency that can turn out superlative work. So I really like this because it's honest and it's willingness to help. So people appreciate this. It's like, I'm not trying to force these services on you. I only want to give this to you if it's really needed, if you really need this. If you don't, why waste each other's time, right? And that's what clients want, actually. So if you want to sell your services to someone, always keep in mind that it's way more powerful to just, in the first step at least, figure out whether you can help each other. And don't try to sell them anyway, even if you clearly see that you can't help them or this is not the right fit for you or for them. Then we have who is CPRNB? I like the name. I mean, I don't, but it's funny. Notice at this point that Gary Bencivenga only talks about his company after the whole lead part, after talking about what they offer, what's in it for the target audience itself, for the reader, and not before. And once again, what many big companies do is that they start talking about themselves, we are a proud company and we believe in, and our mission is to blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares, okay? That's the problem. Nobody cares. And instead of doing that, he realized that instead of boasting about our company, how good we are, you have to talk about the pains, fears, hopes, and dreams of your target audience. You have to give them something that starts there, that gets their juices flowing, that gets them motivated in this whole thing, that gets them curious, or that seems like a good benefit to them, okay? So this is really important as well. He only covers this later on. And then he immediately goes into their unique selling proposition, which is very important thing here. And one of the members actually in Gary's company, I can't really find it right now, but I do remember that I think Ross Reeves was the original creator of the unique selling proposition. So he even says something like, we specialize in creating advertising that sells. That's the unique selling proposition. And especially in that time, not many advertising agencies were doing that. They were coming up with advertisement that's creative, that wins awards. But you can't grow a company with that. In the past 4 years, CPRNB has quietly grown to become one of the 10 largest direct response agencies in America. So yeah, there's a brief explanation of how the company looks like, and then he goes into another key objection handling topic, which is how can we guarantee results? And it makes sense, right? At this point, what the reader might be thinking is that, okay, I see the promise, it sounds cool, and I like your company, but how do you actually do it? What's your method? And this is once again a great lesson in copywriting and in business and in life in general, is that whenever you're trying to sell something, it's okay to describe how you work, because it immediately positions you as an expert. Because as your readers or viewers are reading or watching that, they're gonna get a better idea of how you actually work. They're gonna get a frontline view into your brain, into how your mind works, okay? And this is really powerful because most people don't know this. And think about it from the aspect of a CEO. They don't know how direct response marketing works in most cases, especially for bigger companies. It's just a mystery to them. They just want the end result, money. Sure, but the thing is, they would also like to just understand the unique selling proposition behind this proposition itself. It's how is it possible that they can guarantee results? And after Gary describes all these cool things for them, then they're gonna be like, oh, I see. That makes sense. Now I can understand why you can actually do this. So it's not mystery at all at this point. It makes sense. It makes for a much stronger value proposition. Okay. So and there are actually 6 tenets that Gary uses here, which are very important in copywriting. And it once again, it gives away a lot of value as well. It explains how they work, but it also gives real value away because even if somebody doesn't hire them, they'll still like learn a lot of things about how to make an ad more successful. Even if they just read these 6 things, they're going to be like, okay, now I know the strategy of what to do. So first is advertisement is salesmanship, which is true. This is a core copywriting tenet. So, and then they say, you know, our whole creative approach is built on this fundamental premise. Every word, every picture in an advertisement must justify itself in sales. That's it. The second, building a strong product. So once again, this is like a core marketing tenet, because you can have the best copy in the world if the product itself is shitty, if nobody wants it, if it doesn't have appeal, if it hasn't been tested or proven before. Like, you cannot sell that. If the product itself is not good, good luck selling that. You won't be able to. And then, you know, he goes on to explain in even more detail how they work, how they like maybe even test products, you know, and they dive more into the unique selling proposition of this company. So he says, once we take on a client with such a product, we research it for weeks. We take it apart and examine it from all angles. We visit the factory or place of business and talk with those who make it. We interview its users. We take it home and use it ourselves. Then we compare it with the competition until we found its unique consumer advantage. This is also like another name for the unique selling proposition. Once we have this, we build the entire campaign around it and demonstrate logically, factually, dramatically why it's the best product to fill a specific consumer need. So once again, it makes sense. It highlights the unique selling proposition of the company, and it's really cool. 3, top copywriters. Like, I'm sure that if you're watching this video right now, I don't have to like tell you why copywriting is arguably the most important part in a marketing campaign. Like the copy, the messaging itself, it's super important. So Gary just highlights that, you know, they're working with the best of the best. And he even gives an example of like how for a recent copywriting test, you know, there were 53 good copywriters who applied, and he only hired one of them, the best. Then the 4th, copywriter commission system. So once again, the aim of this paragraph is to give the idea within the reader is to make them feel like or think like, okay, this makes sense. Like, okay, so copywriters are more like salesmen and they get commissions. So what do salesmen who are commissioned do? Like, they work harder. Okay, so that's why, you know, they create better ads. It makes sense. Number 5, a principal on your account. Again, this is important because like you get a dedicated account manager, so that means that you're important. You know, this is just to like alleviate a lot of their pains for people. And then 6, bringing it all together. So it's like, once again, Gary gives a better insight into how they work, into like sometimes they work until 7, 8, 9 o'clock. And it's a super creative team, it's a super effective team, and it's just productive as hell. And then he even sneaks in a little bit of proof right here. It's like the president of a major competitor himself, a famous copywriter, recently confided to us, "I join you for the fun of it all if I were 25 years younger." So wow, that's a quite subtle but effective and powerful proof element. Okay. How have our clients done? Okay, so this part is basically a proof, like all testimonials, not necessarily testimonials, but case studies. Okay, so he says, we wish we could say we hit a home run every time, but of course we can't. But by and large, our clients have done quite well. For example, so I really like this, and it's very typical of Gary Bencivenga, is that he under-promises, but he over-delivers, okay? He has this very gentlemanly style, okay? So even though the copy itself is casual, and it's easy to read, but he's humble, and the humbleness comes away from this copy. And that's also very powerful, and it's honest. So this builds credibility for him and his company. And then we get a bunch of case studies, like overviews of case studies with very specific numbers. So it seems more real. It seems really something with specific numbers and percentages that isn't just made up. So this is also important. And we get case studies from all areas of life. We get like a financial newsletter, so this qualifies in people who have newsletters. We have a private school for problem adolescents. We have a calculator distributor, an economic biweekly. We have this as well. Local bookstore, a guard service, a commodity dealer, and a financial advisory service. So there's a bunch of different types of services and products, and the aim of this is to qualify more and more people, to make them feel like, okay, wow, I mean, I never imagined that a marketing agency could help my company as well, but like, wow, why not? So it's interesting, right? This qualifies a lot of people. And what I like about it, and I've never seen this before except in Gary Bencivenga, is that he's so super honest. He's even willing to share a recent failure that they had. So he says, for the calculator distributor, our first ad failed so poorly, we never got a second chance. But we, not our client, took the loss in accordance with our risk-free agreement. So basically, he's so honest. He shares, because everybody knows that in marketing there's no such thing as like a solution that works every single time. It's all a game of percentages. It's like an investment. It's like you invest money, and then more likely than not, that makes you more money in the longer run. But in many cases, that your investment just disappears, and that's it. And Gary is willing to share this, which is really commendable, and I think it builds even more relatability and likability for him and his company. And it just showcases once again that like if the worst happens, so if like their services fail miserably, then the client still, like, they don't have to pay, so it was essentially free for them, right? I mean, how can you resist this irresistible offer? And I think that in one of the interviews that Gary did with someone, he mentioned that after putting this ad out, they immediately got so much work that they couldn't handle it. Like, they had to reject people and build a wait list because everybody was trying to work with them after this. And I can totally see why now, okay? So we get more and more testimonials or case studies at least, and it's like, inside the case studies themselves, you can find value as well. And then the final subhead says, what should you do if you're interested? So it's like next steps. And we have a very straightforward CTA call to action. If you're interested in us and our unique offer, call us or write today for more information, right? It's pretty straightforward. And after it, we have more information regarding this. And we also have a little dimensionalization element that I like. He says, like, if you wish to send us a proof of your best ad or sample of your top direct mail package, plus any background literature you may have, we can then look it over and let you know shortly if we feel we can beat it by at least 10%. On the average, we feel we can beat about 19 out of 20 advertisements. So this is cool because many CEOs, once again, they have no idea what 10% means. They don't know what beating an ad by 10% means, and they don't know, like, what's the average. Like, are most ads beaten or are most ads not beaten? Like, what's the number? What's the context with that? So Gary Bencivenga goes on to actually contextualize and dimensionalize this, because he says, like, on average, we beat 19 out of every 20 advertisements currently. So that's pretty cool, right? And it's, once again, an advanced copywriting technique, but it's super powerful. And then we get a satisfaction guarantee. Basically, he says the best part about our guaranteed results offer is that you don't risk a cent. So it's pretty powerful. And then finally, we have like the details. There's no fancy call to action or super powerful call to action here, because this is meant for like up higher level CEOs and executives. So it's more B2B, business to business, and you don't necessarily need like super powerful emotional language there. And he also includes a potential objection handling by saying your inquiry will be kept in confidence. So like maybe some companies are afraid that some trade secrets or something like that will be leaked out. They don't necessarily want to send somebody else their winning promotions, because like anybody else can then copy it, right? But like Gary immediately answers this potential objective as well. So there's no super fancy call to action or something like that, but I really like how humble it is. It oozes confidence and it oozes professionalism. That's what I like about it. And if you also want to sell your copywriting services or consulting services or something like that, you might want to model your ad around something like this. If you do that, like, it's gonna be super valuable for you, and this video has done its job. So if you enjoyed the video, then make sure to like it, subscribe to my channel, and also leave a comment with your number one takeaway. Like, what's the best thing that you learned from this, or what's the cool thing that what's something that you really like about Gary Bencivenga's style, or something that really caught your eyes. So really appreciate you watching this, and see you in the next one.